Welcome back to the Michael Brooks Show. Michael Brooks here. It's a great honor, pleasure to welcome Chris Smalls. He is organizing Amazon workers. Chris, thanks
Thank
so
you for
much for
having
doing
me.
it. How
Yep,
are you?
thanks for having me. I'm great, man. I'm hanging in there, fighting a good fight, man.
You
A
are.
good fight. A good fight.
Can you take us through this process that began? I just want to top line three quick things and then take us through it. The floor will be yours. So
Sure.
Amazon and Whole Foods have done next to nothing. That's my editorial to protect their workers during this pandemic. Chris responded to that first by asking some very basic questions about safety protocols, and then starting to kind of organize the workforce. And we've also gotten a report in the last several days that not only did this, not only that this has gotten pushback from the highest levels of the company, including Jeff Bezos. So, Chris, can you take it from there?
Sure. Well, yeah, as you all know, March 30th, I started a revolution. I'll take you back to how it started. March 24th, I returned to work after taking a couple of days off. Obviously, raising concerns within that building because I've seen some of my colleagues and employees fall ill, and a domino effect. And it was very alarming, very scary. And I raised concerns in the building to the HR team, saying like, hey, something's wrong here. We need to quarantine the building. They were very nonchalant about it. You know, as you can tell, this country, we're playing catch up because our chief and commander is catching up. So the company was doing the same thing. We wasn't prepared. We wasn't taking it serious, but I was. You know, I was very aware and adamant about the safety and the well-being of my employees, especially working with these people 40, 50 hours a week. This is my extended family, you know, been with the company since 2015. So, yeah, March 24th, I came to work because I needed a check to pay my rent. And my colleague, who's on the same level as me, a process assistant, which is similar to an assistant manager, she was sick. Her eyes were bloodshot, puffy. She was fatigued. And I was like, yeah, you need to go home. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. She was like, yeah, I'm sick. I went for testing last night. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you definitely need to go home. As you know, you don't even get the test unless you're showing severe symptoms. So I was like alarmed that she was even there in the building to begin with, after being there all week around hundreds of employees for 10 hours a day. So thank God I came there on my overtime day, which is not even my normal schedule, and sent her home. They forgot to leave that part out. But yeah, that's the truth. 2 hours later, we had a small managers meeting, which we have every day, called the sync meeting. And that's when we learned about our first confirmed case. The associate was in the building on March 11th. It's the 24th, though. So they were pretty much nonchalant about it. They were like, hey, he's not here. He hasn't been here for a number of days in a row. I didn't give a damn. Excuse my language. But I was like, hey, the Queens building in New York, they closed down. They had one confirmed case. They closed down. They send everybody home with pay, and they sanitize the building. I was expecting that. It didn't happen. That was my last time working for Amazon right there. I walked out the building at 12 o'clock. The person I drive to work with, who they didn't quarantine, by the way, we both left. And we both went home. And that's how I started mobilizing and thinking of ways I can get these people out of that building. Yeah, go ahead.
Did you already have a sense before this that this was something that you wanted to do in terms of overall work conditions at Amazon?
No, I was just being a concerned human being. I had
Yeah.
no idea none of this would transpire to where I'm at now. I was just a regular person, a regular father of three. And I was concerned, and I was just trying to save people's lives. I didn't want this virus to go home to their families. You know, I came back to the building every single day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, up until Saturday when they quarantined me. And I sat in that cafeteria for 8 hours a day, explaining and telling the truth to the employees because they deserve to know it. And I told them, like, hey, you've been working around somebody that tested positive. And we walked into the general manager's office every morning, interrupting his meetings in groups of 10, trying to close that building down. And I got nowhere. I got a bunch of running around all week. They helped orchestrate me sitting these people in the cafeteria lying to them, telling them I'm going to come address them. They never did any of that. They never warned me multiple times. They knew exactly what I was doing. And then they quarantined me just because they wanted to silence me. I think they were annoyed about what I was doing. And then it was like, hey, you did come in contact with her. You had to be quarantined. I was like, yeah, I know I did. I told you guys that when she tested positive on Wednesday. I knew. I told you guys that. You guys told me y'all was going to call me over the phone or email me, which didn't make any sense. But now you're telling me in person I'm quarantined. Okay, fine. But what about the employees? What about the person I ride to work with? No, just you. So what does that tell everybody?
Right. Right.
So I had to
What
take
else have they done in response? And where were you at when you got the news that there was a leak of a meeting where they were talking about undermining you personally at the very highest levels?
I was home. I've been in here talking to the world. When I found out, I received the email early in the morning before the press even got a hold of it. Now we all know what these people are. Thank you. Whoever leaked it, thank you. You did us all a favor, not just me. I'm not going to stoop down to that level. I put a statement out there already, and all I can say is we all know who Jeff Bezos is now. We all know who he has around him, whether he said it or not. You can imagine the type of conversation they really have about minorities. And that says enough. It's never going to be Amazon versus Chris Smalls. It's going to be Amazon versus the people. So they're going to have to answer to all of us.
Talk about that process now. There's the boycott happening. The organizing has continued. How is that playing out, both from the perspective of the workers, your fellow workers, and also from people like us who, honestly, I mean, this is not a big ask to not use Amazon for a week. This is not a big ask.
Absolutely. And that's, I started a revolution. I'm getting calls from all around the world, Germany to Tokyo, Canada, Australia, Italy, Sweden, you name it. I got emails from associates all around the world. They feel empowered now because they're dealing with the same situation. So I might have sparked the fuse of a revolution, and I'm all supported of the unions that's organizing against them because we got to take the power back. And as you just stated, yes, you want to practice real social distancing, stop clicking the button. You saving lives. We don't need Amazon. It's not a necessity. You got to think about humanity right now. We all should have one common goal, and that's to defeat COVID-19. And Amazon is a breeding ground for the coronavirus. We got to shut it down.
What about after it? We defeat it. We recognize Amazon's total recklessness in this, but we also can see that it connects to a broader set of policies of how Amazon treats its workers. And in this, I mean, and how a bunch of companies, I mean, we were talking about UPS workers earlier and so on. This isn't, this is about big business in general, but Amazon plays such a powerful and unique role in our lives, from holding the servers of podcasts to CIA information to its workforce at factories across the globe to its kind of deep knowledge of all of us. What is like the bigger picture demand? First, stop the crisis. First, hold the company accountable. But then we as consumers, everybody as workers, to make a completely different set of demands on Amazon overall.
This could never happen again. It shouldn't happen in the first place. It still shouldn't be happening, but it is. This can never happen again. You can't allow. I've got people sleeping in their cars right now, working for the richest man in the world. That doesn't even make sense. I got people that's been unpaid for an entire month and still going because they're afraid to go to work. Amazon hires from 16 or 18 all the way up till, you want to retire, or even after you retire, senior citizens. These people can't go to work. Their parents are telling these young kids, don't go to work. You're not bringing that virus back home. And these senior citizens have underlying health conditions, or their immune systems are not strong enough to go to work. They're unpaid right now. The company's throwing money towards PR. We want to show commercials about, sending out PPE and temperature taking. It's all reactive. It's all Band-Aid work. It's all fabricated, sugar-coated. That's not the reality of the situation. People are getting sick and bringing this virus home to their families. I know people that lost grandparents already,
Yep.
and this company don't give a damn.
No, they've spent more time figuring out how to smear you.
Right. Good luck.
What about your friends and people that led this first act of, and look, just real courage, let's be honest. Like, thank you, and let's honor that.
Thank you.
So where are people that you were concerned about personally? Where is the state of their health now?
It's hard because they need money and they want to
Right.
take the stance with me. They haven't been going to work. They're trying to hold off as long as they can. And eventually they're gonna run out of money. We're down to our last pennies. I don't even have a job right now myself. So I do have a donation, GoFundMe up, and I'm gonna give that money to them, because it was never about money for me. This is for them. And I'm gonna give that money, whoever donates, I'm gonna make sure that I pay the people that's in the building. And we have a national strike with the organizers across the nation. I'm getting more information about that because I want I want to have say into how it's distributed to make sure that the right people get the money, and that's what I'm working on right now behind the scenes.
In the last couple of minutes, please just tell us all of the concrete ways. It sounds really simple, as I keep saying out of the gate. Don't use Amazon for a week. But what can people do to try to synchronize as many of our efforts as possible and really, and make sure that this situation changes and in a durable way for the future?
Sure. Well, let me tell the people the scary thing. Maybe I got to scare them or enlighten them at least. It's 500,000 employees nationwide for Amazon. It's 800,000 employees worldwide. This virus spreads to 2.5 people. Take your calculator out. Do the math. That should wake you up right there. God forbid, we all become carriers of COVID-19. God forbid. You're talking about ending humanity. So that should wake you up. You want to, like I said, you want to practice real social distancing. Stop that one-click buy. What was you doing 20 years ago? Going to the grocery store, right? Why can't we revert back to old society? No problem with doing that. Force these billionaires to throw that money towards not the food pantry, but the medical field. That's who needs it right now. Those are the real heroes. You want hospitals? JFK 8, Staten Island holds 14 NFL football fields. There's your hospital, New York. There's Amazons in every city and every state, almost, if not already. There's your hospitals. We got to wake up.
Where can people support the GoFundMe?
On my Twitter page, shut_down Amazon.
Chris Smalls, thank you.
Thank you for having me. Anytime,
Seriously.
brother.
Thank you.
Anytime. Take care.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Be well. We'll talk to you soon, hopefully.
Absolutely. You too.
All right. Good night. All right, folks. That's it. There it is. And what's so incredible is like the risk is so enormous. The man does not have a job right now. That's terrifying. Anybody who's been in that sort of situation in any way, let alone not in a pandemic, being unemployed, not having a source of income is fucking terrifying. Jeff Bezos and these other motherfuckers are figuring out how to attack him and keep everybody unsafe so they can keep up hyper exploitation of their workers. And I mean that in a very technical sense. Like exploitation in Marxist terminology just describes basically a relationship between labor and capital. So you can be exploited actually in a pretty nice way in certain circumstances. In the Amazon warehouses are hyper exploitation always. Right? Those are the stories about monitoring how people use the bathroom and all of these horrifying, intricate timing systems and all of this stuff. And the man does not want his colleagues to die of a fucking pandemic. and would also like to not contribute it to the broader public. And it requires this level of heroism on his part to just do that, let alone the other big picture things that we need to do. The asks relative to the barbarism of that company are extraordinary. And there's nothing exceptional about it. It's not that Amazon, yes, Amazon actually arguably does have a more kind of brutal work culture than other companies in some respects. You can get into it. But this is not an Amazon problem. This is a hyper capitalism problem or a big business problem, whatever. I'm less attached to the jargon. But just really, really, really reflect on his asks relative to the risk, relative to the company response.
Yeah, and let's also remember too that Amazon has really concentrated. Like, I mean, I might be wrong about the numbers, but something like half of American households have an Amazon Prime account. I mean, Amazon has really captured like the United States economy and distribution system, and it's run and it's just like it's run on that kind of brutal exploitation, and we should not forget it. It's something that is just it's there. And so many people don't see it, and it's really inspiring that people are starting to push back. And it's something that we've been saying for a little while too. In crisis, at the bottom of the situation, there's also huge opportunity because this is where workers have a tremendous amount of power.
Let me just read. I actually just happened to drop on the Discord, so I'm going to just read this. I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. This
is what was leaked about the memo, about the meeting, apparently. And this has not been denied, okay, as far as I understand. This is David Sapolsky, Amazon's general counsel. Speaking of the gentleman we just interviewed, he's not smart or articulate. And to the extent that the press wants to focus on us versus him, we will be in a much stronger PR position than simply explaining for the umpteenth time about how we're trying to protect workers. Now, I don't know what you just heard. I mean, on what planet is that guy not clear? Clear-spoken person who doesn't want he or his colleagues to die. Now, not everybody has gone to an Ivy League college. Not everybody has been trained in different rituals of how to speak so you appear smart, even though you're a sociopathic mediocrity like this fucking general counsel. Not even to mention the obvious race shit that you can read into that. So this is what they're thinking about. They're thinking about how can we demonize somebody who is risking everything so people don't die as PR spin. And Jeff Bezos was at that meeting. And I'm not going to get too far off on this hobby horse, but I don't look. Yes, there's some good reporting and some good work in the Washington Post. There's also a lot of horrible work in the Washington Post. But I don't want to hear any more fucking, well, you got to appreciate Jeff Bezos against Trump. No, they're all part of the same pathology.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It's disgusting. Disgusting. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been saying that Trump clearly has a secret crush on Jeff Bezos if we go through this and we don't nationalize Amazon. So, come on, Trump.
Disgusting. You just watched a Michael Brooks show video. Subscribe to get them all. Why wouldn't you? Don't be foolish. Click subscribe below and become a patron as well. Patreon.com/TMBS. Thanks, everybody.